Are we back? We're back. Alright, sorry about that. Some technical difficulties. But, where was we? Just close this previous one. Here we go. We're back. Too much copyright, yes. Maybe they don't like it if you show the jokes. Like you're not allowed to create harm on the internet by joking with people. But by the way, like what I find interesting is that literally the first thing they decided to ban is the jokes. Like that is literally it. The first thing they go after is humor. Every single time. It's the mark of a dictator or an authoritarian person. Someone that wants to control people. Right? But they actually do want to control people. They believe that if people are allowed to be free, they become sexist pigs, just like their leadership, just like their company higher-ups. And the only way to make sure that people behave nicely is to control them through various means. And one of the ways they want to control is by not allowing people to hear jokes. Okay? Because if you let people hear these jokes...
What big ears I have. You should check out the rest of me.
Oh my god! Oh! Oh, sexismus! Oh. When in reality, it's just like a cringy line that's something is going to make a teenager laugh. Like again, this game was made for teenagers, and it was one of the most popular games in the world.
Ladies, you know, older bulls really only have one function.
How is this?
Glad to see me. Both, I hope. So then, he asked me to go up on him.
Yeah, I would tempt that kid. Hey, hot stuff.
Yeah, you're not allowed to express your sexuality as a man. Like, if you have 4 guys sitting at a table, and they're basically saying, okay, so which one of the girls over there you find hot? That is literally rape. Like, that should be criminalized. But if you have 4 women sitting at a table and they're like, which one of those guys you find hot? Like, which one of the football players or which one of those actors you find hot? Oh, that's progressive. That's empowering. You go, girl. Oh, look, the succubus goes like, oh, why am I mo shindeiro? Okiwa, I don't know if it means if you came or arrived. But anyway, right, so it's just like those are the jokes that they decided to remove. And let's see what they're saying about it. They also use the current year. Honestly, like, they keep copying Justin Trudeau. Like, I don't know why they keep copying the guy with the blackface. Because he's the one that went, oh, well, it's current year, so we need to change. We need to change the Mona Lisa because it's current year. Like, what the hell? So, we made a decision on whether to leave something standing because they're borderline, but we're not looking to reinvent anything. Well, yeah, because you can't invent shit. Like, you're not talented. You can't do things. I can remove, like, even I, that's not a programmer, would probably be able to remove things from the game. I mean, everyone can remove things, but making things that are fun, oh, well, that's difficult. Turn over every single stone and rewrite 70 years of World of Warcraft. It might be a little bit juvenile, it might be off color, but this isn't something that is really making our game feel less welcoming for people, which is what we're aiming to change. Motherfucker, if anything, you should be conservative. Like, if anything, you would look at when your game was welcoming for people, and you did have the most number, the highest number of subscribers in the entire video game industry, and you should reproduce that. Okay, like, your game used to be popular, it used to have people playing. But now, you're banning people from the forum. If you go on the Blizzard forum and you're complaining about what they're doing, they'll ban you. They're banning players, they're banning customers. They're like, literally, please, don't give us your money. Because of the nature of the feedback loop in the community and the way we publish new builds during in the public test run cycle and fan-side data, mining them, every one of these changes ends up getting a huge spotlight shown in alongside class balance changes and other things we're adding. This is a massive patch, but it's not something that took the entire team offline. Man, you have been hard at work banning things to the extent where I find it difficult to believe that it didn't actually take time away from your team. In the grand scheme of things, these are small changes. Many of them would probably go unnoticed. Then why are you changing them? Why are you changing them if they could go unnoticed? You're only changing them to satisfy the PR team. To make it sound like, oh, look how much Blizzard has changed. They're removing shit. This isn't necessary. It's something that we expect to do in every patch going forward. To have a bunch of changes along these lines. No. You are going to do this every patch coming forward. I don't believe you. I'm willing to bet every single patch they're going to censor something new from the game. Global player base that calls Azeroth World of Warcraft home. Who the fuck calls a video game home? Dude, if I have a kid that calls World of Warcraft home, I would stop allowing him to go to the computer. Even I, who was addicted to this game, I would never call World of Warcraft home. Like, it is harmful. It is harmful for children. It is harmful for adults. It's a video game. It's not your home. And not only that, it's like they always had a global base player. Even when you had all the racism and all the sexist jokes, you go to World of Warcraft and you have people from all over the world. Except China, I think. I don't think they can connect because they're banned. And North Korea. Yeah. But other than that, like I used to have a tank that was from Saudi Arabia in my guild. I used to have a priest that was an elderly woman who had a chain of hotels in my country. Used to have a paladin that was from Sweden. He was ranting about Muslims before it even got cool. It was what, like 2014, I think. Yeah, and he was telling me about how in his town there's a criminal gang, and they just got into a neighbor house of his and beat him up. And I'm like, and what did the police do? It's like nothing. The police didn't do anything. I'm like, get the fuck out. That's not true. I didn't believe it at the time. I was thinking, it's like, no, that can't be happening. Come on. It's not true. Yeah, it's literally the we are trying to build a home here argument. Like, stop building homes and try building a video game. But seriously, like the more I read from this, the more I wonder if this guy has brain damage or something. I go, what did they do to him? What's the community reaction? So he's saying the community has mixed reactions. Okay, like, how can you be inclusive if half the community hates your guts? I mean, I guess you can be inclusive if you piss off half the player base and the one that remains agrees with you, yeah. It's kind of the solution of Stalin on how to make people happy. Shoot those who are unhappy. Yeah, so if you keep shooting people who are unhappy, if you super cancel them, eventually you end up with a very happy population. Some of it is confusion. Changes started to be seen before we explained why we were doing what we were doing. You assume that the player base is mentally deficient. Like, you assume that your customers are mentally challenged. We know why you are doing what you are doing. Like, we are aware. You don't have to explain shit. It's got a deer. We know exactly why you're doing it. And we're not buying it. You're doing it because you're fake. You pretend that you care about issues, and you think you can solve those issues by banning some edgy jokes from the game, which aren't even edgy. That's why you're doing what you're doing. You're trying to buy good PR. You're trying to pretend that you're part of the good guys now, while you don't really change anything. So there's a range of folk. You have folk who see this as political or unwelcome. Everything is political, I thought. You know what's interesting? You'll have these people tell you everything is political, and when you accuse them of politicizing something, they are pretending, oh, what are you talking about? No, of course it's not political. Just focus on making a fun game. I don't care about that stuff. Yes! Yeah, so they know the feedback. They literally know this is what people are telling them. It's like, please make a game. Just shut the fuck up and make a game. I'm paying you money for it. Okay? It's not entitlement. I'm giving you money so you can make a game. Can you give me what I'm paying for? No, they can't. On the other end, there are those who have expressed a concern that we're almost doing this as a smokescreen. Oh my fucking god, look at this, okay? So they're doing this. People are saying, and he's saying we got mixed reactions. Some people say that what we're doing is political and it's cringe. And the other group of people are saying it's a smokescreen. Literally no one is happy with your decision. No one is happy with what you're doing. Stop it, please. Just stop. How can I make them stop, chap? What do I need to do to make them stop? They won't stop. They keep going. They're assuming their customers went to a US university. Of course they think they're stupid. I mean, the idea that a company needs to explain to me what they're doing when they're doing that is... Unless the game is replayable with good design, I don't bother replaying. 5 for you to fix your ishvi. I pay for the highest quality of entertainment. Now Dance Puppet. Fix what do you mean fix your ish? Because I'm willing to fix stuff because you give me money. Like unlike Blizzard, I actually listen to the people that give me money. But I don't understand. Like I need to figure out what ish is. Rather than actually tackling the hard issues, we're just changing some words in a game. This isn't an in or, it's an and. Dude, no, absolutely not, okay? No, I don't believe it. Stop doing this shit. It's meaningless. It just pisses people off. You're pissing people off on the left, you're pissing off people on the right. No one is happy with this. We understand that we're not fixing systemic injustice. Dude, you're in charge of the fucking system! It's a corporation. It's literally hierarchical. Like you are in charge of the corporation. You are the system. It's not a democracy. It's not like no. It's a company. You are placed at the top. You can just walk around like a god among the developers and go, "You're fired. You're fired. You get a promotion." You can do that. You can cancel people. Like, what do you mean? Like, you're not fixing systemic shit. You're in charge of the system. But systemic injustice. You are the owner. Well, you are the leader of the company, okay? You can fix anything in the company. You are the law. You're literally Judge Dredd of the corporate world. I don't understand. How can he say these things and people read it and go like, yes, absolutely, yes, they're not fixing systemic injustice. Why not do that while we're also working on larger cultural unity and diversity? What the fuck is cultural unity and diversity? How can you have cultural unity if you have diversity? Fuck me. They're killing my brain. They are killing my brain. They want me dead. They want to do to me what they did to that other guy who made an antivirus. McCabe. They want to McCabe me. They want to McCabe me with this article. The words mean what they used to mean. You need a dictionary for the woke because diversity doesn't mean what they mean. Cultural unity and diversity. This is the first time I actually heard this phrase. Cultural unity and diversity. And safety issues. Hire more security guards if you're unsafe, you dumbasses. You're the company leader. You can literally hire a security guard for every employee. Keep them safe. Lock them in maximum security prison. You can create the Blizzard office like a maximum security prison with a room, with a cell for every single employee, and you can keep them safe. As we're improving our process for evaluating managers for sharing feedback with the team, we're improving our recruitment and hiring to build a more diverse team. Let's also turn to the same eye on the game. That's the same thing. Oh my god, Blizzard is incapable of making games anymore. I'm calling it right now. When I saw the last BlizzCon, I thought that, okay, I will play Diablo 2 Remaster because it's Diablo 2, so at least it's the same game. And I was right, okay? I was right. But I'm telling you, I thought that Diablo 4 might be a game that I could enjoy. I don't think that anymore. I think Diablo 4 is going to be a horrible game. And it's not going to be horrible because it's not going to have flirts, emotes, and edgy jokes. No, it's going to be horrible because they're not hiring people based on talent. Would you get into an airplane where you know that the pilot was not hired based on his ability to pilot a plane? Because I wouldn't get anywhere near that. Okay? It's the same thing here. Would you pay money for a game that should entertain you by people who aren't qualified to make entertainment? It's going to be a buggy mess. I'm calling it from right now. It's going to be a game that is insanely buggy. It's going to be a game that is going to have the ugliest characters in the history of any other MMO, unless you're playing a man. Okay, if you're playing a man. By the way, speaking of ugly characters, I just want to show you another game that I got today. Please stop gifting me these games. I'm not going to play them. Alright? It scars my retina. I had to refund the game. Luckily, you have that option on Steam, but my god. So, the game is called Mankind. No, sorry, not Mankind. Jesus, that's sexist. The game is called Humankind. And look at this character. Alright, just look at this young lad here. Look at it. Look, what the fuck is it doing? Why is he looking at me like that? Like, I'm a married man. I'm not into that. Look, what on earth? What? No! No! I'm telling you this. If I ever want to make a satanic game, I will want to contact this artist. Like, I want this artist to make a satanic game for me because the art style is sending me the creeps. I legitimately feel that I'm in hell when I'm looking at the screen. Look at this facial. If you have a person smiling at you like this, you would feel uncomfortable. You would think that you should file for a sexual harassment lawsuit. I'm pretty much sure this is the face that the Blizzard CEO did to the women at his company. This is how, you would go into the office of the higher ups at Blizzard. This is the face they would give to you. This is how they would look at you. Oh my god. It's kind of upsetting because the game isn't that bad, but the art style, like, jeez. And it looks like a man, doesn't it? Like, they keep androgenizing women. They keep putting a masculine features on their face. Like, what on earth? I think that's supposed to be Cleopatra, unironically. It is creepy. It creeps me out. Alright, hold on. Mentat gave me a super chat. They like pretending that everyone agrees with them, except for like 1% of the population. Well, that's why they keep saying we, right? Like, it's a tactic. So they keep saying we gamers, we Americans, we. It's the word of the abuser, alright? Like, when someone talks to you with we, more often than not, they're trying to abuse you. When they say, we gamers are progressives in 2021, right? What they're trying to say is that if you don't identify with that, then you're not a gamer, and they're against you. So if they say we Americans have to do better, if you don't agree, then you're not an American, and they're against you. Like that's why it's about projecting power. It's about making it sound like your opinion is more favorable than it actually really is. I just installed the new Final Fantasy. Are you going to tell on which server you are? Just as good friends if you're not, but I think it would be awesome. Man, I don't have the game. I joked about it, but I don't have the game. I don't have time to play MMOs. I play Back 4 Blood right now. It's a good game. I tried to play Humankind. Again, being a little bit racist. What else do I play? Far Cry, I should try and finish it, but it's so hard. And that's pretty much it. But by the way, like, I'm looking at my Mankind, the intro picture. Let me see if I can find it. Mankind, no, Humankind. All right. I want to show you something. It's the most try-hard... Yeah, so this is like the most try-hard progressive picture that I have ever seen in a game, right? So let's see. I'll click on it. No. Just show me the picture. Just the picture. All right. It's beautiful. So you have the male guy, right? So the masculine guy, and he looks worried, concerned, he's afraid. But he's got like this brave white chica grabbing his hand and rushing him into battle. Okay? Another chica in the back lifting a gun. Another chica right here with an axe, well, with a sword, I guess. No, sorry, with a stick. Jesus. So chica, and there's another chica. Oh, she's not in this picture, but if you play the actual game, there's another chica over here with a gun. I don't know if this is a chica or not. And you have like the laborer, the labor union guy with the hammer. I don't really mind this, to be honest. Like, it's not bad or anything, but it's just so try hard. It's like, let's change the name so it's not mankind, it's humankind, okay? And then let's add as many warrior women and make them hyper aggressive, so the women are very aggressive. And then the men are the scientists, the men are the philosophers, the men are, like on the back line. This is why I really like it. But again, it's not a bad picture. I mean, it's not necessarily cringe or anything, except for this. Like this right here. I mean, this woman is a testosterone vampire. It's like a succubus, but she doesn't feed on sexual energy. She feeds on testosterone. She is sucking the testosterone away from this guy. Like this poor guy, a little bit, and his balls are going to shrivel up. No one else in the picture is clicking hands. He's literally the only one that has to hold hands. What on earth is she screaming at? Like, no one else is screaming. Oh, they are. But she's like a battle cry. She's like screaming for victory, I guess. He's trying to hold the philosophy. Oh my god, this is just... You think he's upset? Yeah, he looks upset. He looks upset like, why are we in this picture? You're going to shame me. Wrong picture. The new one has blue-haired women. Okay, let me see if I can find the one with the blue-haired women. I don't think I can find it. Well, it's not readily available, but you know what? I'll probably screenshot it when I'm in the game. Because I remember there were like more women in the picture. And that's why I was laughing, because it's absolutely hilarious. Oh, yeah. I found it. I think it's, yeah, the woman has blue hair. Now that you mentioned it. Although it's a low resolution picture. But it's true, right? So they added an astronaut now. And the woman does have blue hair. Oh, God. Yeah, it's a game. It's a Viking woman, a warrior, yes? She's warrioring while sucking the testosterone away from the black man. Oh my god, this ain't anime. You're not in your weeb world now. No, absolutely not. Gothic 3? No, I didn't like Gothic 3. I only played Gothic 2, I believe. But I never liked the combat system in the Gothic games. It's really clunky. Oh, another super chat from Mentat. Let's see. Real life Cleopatra was ugly. Okay, no, this is not true, and I'll tell you why. Minting coins was actually a difficult process, and you didn't usually get the face right. And I can show you the proof of this. So if you look at the Roman coins, you can see that there are a couple of coins next to the actual bust of the person, and usually they don't look anything like the coin. And there are reasons for it. It's probably because again, like minting coins was difficult, so sculpting sculpting someone's face with great detail wasn't something that people could do with the technology at the time. Usually they were from the side. I mean, look at this, you know. And people would change, right? So, for example, this guy, like when they minted the coin, he could have been fat, but then he could have lost weight. And he wouldn't look like the coin in reality, or vice versa. He could have gained weight. He could have changed his hairstyle, so on and so forth. So, yeah, I mean, it's not really all the time like an exact match. If you look at the face, I mean, look at this guy, right? I don't think he looked like this in real life, or this one. It's more like a caricature. But, you know, it's possible that Cleopatra was ugly. I mean, there's no way of knowing. I don't think they have busts of her, because that's the only way you can know. If they have a statue or a bust, then they could actually use great detail. But, yeah, I mean, it's possible that she was ugly. Why not? I mean, there's not a requirement that nobility had to be beautiful. Abdi Muhammad says that she should have been because she was inbred. So let's look at the what is it? The Habsburgian chin. So the Habsburgs, yeah, they were quite big on inbreeding, and yeah, they would look like this. So it is possible, yeah, that they were ugly. Jesus, man, like it is so bizarre. I mean, this guy looks a little bit more normal. Look at this. Jesus. I guess, like, this chin actually makes it that the person looks down on you. Like, they have this face of superiority. Like, you know, they lean their head back and they're looking at you like a peasant. I can see that. The women were a little bit more pretty, though, I guess, with the... compared to this. Jesus. Centuries of inbreeding among European royals. Yeah, so the thing was, like, if you were a peasant, you were expected to marry a peasant. And that was obviously easy because, well, there were a lot of peasants around. But if you were a noble, things became complicated because nobles had to marry nobles. Like, a noble marrying a peasant was unthinkable. So the lower nobility, they had access to a lot of lower nobles. The higher nobility, they had access to fewer. But when you go all the way up to the king, well, the king couldn't really marry a noble. I mean, it was kind of possible, but usually it was discouraged because military alliances were important. So you think about it, like, if you're a princess from Europe, you can only marry from other royal European families. And eventually, you don't have that many opportunities, so you end up with a lot of people inbreeding. Because all of the European families, at one point, they were relatives to one another. Usually distant relatives, but sometimes not so much. She must have been pretty. She seduced Marcus Antonius. Well, you have to understand that there's several possibilities here. Number one is that Marcus Antonius just did it for political reasons. But number two, maybe she was actually very beautiful for her time period, right? Because people have weird fetishes during various times in history and various cultures. So, for example, in China, I believe, they like women that have very short feet. Let me see if I can find an example. They actually torture girls in order to achieve this perfection. Yeah, so... if you look at the Chinese practice of it, foot binding, right? And it causes this level of mutilation in order to produce this type of foot. And this is considered to be very desirable among the Chinese population. I don't know if it's still desirable today. But again, like, this is how it mutilates the foot. And the way they make it so that people wear this is that they force little girls into these tiny fits since they grow up, so that their feet grow into this really bizarre and, I mean, it's not really I don't know if you can call it mutilation, because it's not really. I mean, it's just like having a bonsai tree is the best way to put it, right? Like you have an actual tree, but you force it to grow into a small pot, and you have the equivalent of a bonsai tree, right? Like it's doing it the same, but to a human foot. So what I'm trying to say is that it's very bizarre, right? Because you're looking at it as a European, and you're like, what on earth is attractive about that? I mean, they have tiny feet. That's weird. But in their culture, it's actually very attractive, right? So maybe Cleopatra was very attractive for the Egyptian period, and she had some assets that got Mr. Antonius interested in her. Zoe Quinn was the Helen of Troy of the internet. Oh my god. I don't think she was the Helen of Troy. She was the apple of discord, I suppose. Young Chinese girls would have their feet and toes broken and folded into the correct shape. That is horrible. Do you know that, I guess Europeans, the closest things we have is piercing a person's ear so they can wear earrings? I mean, that's also a form of bodily mutilation, I guess, but very tame compared to what other people are doing. But yeah, like the idea of taking a needle and piercing a girl's ear or earlobe in order that she can wear earrings is the closest thing we have, I guess. How is that attractive? I have a bloody foot fetish and that looks abominable. Chinese are the feet people. Well, in Asia, that's also interesting, right? Because if you look at boobs, in Asia, it's considered that women have the smallest breasts compared to the rest of the world, which is why they have a smaller rate of breast cancer than everywhere else in the world. And in order, why do women have bigger breasts? Is because, well, people, like men, were attracted in women with bigger breasts. So because they would select those women, they were more likely to have offsprings. And that's why, like in Europe, you have many women with bigger breasts. In Asia, I guess like they would select women based on other characteristics, like for example, feet or whatever. But even if you look at the size of human beings throughout the years, if you look at Napoleon, like he wasn't that short for his size for his time period, but for us, he looks like a midget. And that's because women prefer taller men, and women kept preferring taller men until, you have this natural selection, and now you have people that are tall. So in other words, you can find a lot about the desires of a particular group of people based on their features, right? Because again, like breasts, they don't necessarily help you survive. Like they don't offer you an advantage or anything. But it's just like because of the sexual attractiveness, men prefer, in Europe at least, women that have bigger breasts. Yeah, no, I don't think it's more milk. I don't know if is that different. I mean, for example, I don't know if a C-size... First of all, you have to understand, like, breasts also grow when you become pregnant. But secondly, I don't know if a C-sized breast is actually really that more advantageous than having a D-sized one. A lot more famines in Asia. I don't know. I mean, in Eastern Europe, there have been plenty famines. India are the ones that got the idea to use ants for sutures. I didn't even know. I thought they used worms for clearing wounds. Because, like, you can... And they still do it in hospitals today, by the way. But usually, like, in war hospitals. So if you have a wound which has some necrotic tissue in it, they still use worms. Why? Because worms, they can only eat the dead flesh, and they can do it at a microscopic level. So there's no medical procedure that a doctor can do by hand which is going to make sure that they get all of the rotten flesh away while leaving the healthy one alone. And this is important because otherwise you can get an infection. So any type of flesh that's dead, that's sticking into your body, is a risk of an infection. Hentai taught me that Asians love big boobs. Well, that type of... okay, first of all, that hentai might be, how should I say, appealing to a wider audience. But secondly, man, there is something about hentai that I don't get. And maybe you guys can explain to me, right? So let's say I look for... oh, okay, I know. So this is what I don't get in anime. Like, they will find a cute girl, right? So let's say they will show you a girl that looks like this, right? Like cute, adorable, and then you have like some romance that's going on, you know? Okay. And then you have the person of higher culture, and he's like, all right, we're going to take this girl and pair her with the ugliest, stinkiest, most disgusting looking man we can ever draw. Why do they do that? Why? Let's see if I can find an example so you guys know what I mean. Okay, I think I found one. Yes. Like, you'll have a cute girl like that, and they're pairing her with something like this. And you're thinking, like, why? Why do they do that? What is the appeal? Like, who wants to see this? I mean, it's such a disappointment when you reach a story that gets you hooked, gets you captivated, because the main female protagonist is Ushikushi. And then you get to the action and the guy comes in and he looks like that, and you're like, why? Why you do this? The ugly man trope, yes. But it's not even that the man is ugly, it's that he's deformed. Like, his body was left scarred and deformed after the artist went into the room. What is NTR romance? What is that? It looks like the Japanese violator from Spawn. How is it funny? Dude, when I look at these stories, I don't want to be amused. I want other things to happen, okay? Like, I'm interested in a different array of emotions than being amused. What do you mean it gives guys with lower self-esteem hope? No! I can't visualize myself as that guy, no matter how much I try. No matter how much ugly I will look. I just can't picture myself as that guy. Ever used artflow.ai? I don't even know what that is. Don't look up NTR. Necorrer. Netorare. I'm not doing my research. I was told not to look it up, okay? Another woman told me that the succubus is trying to mentally scar me for life, so I'm not going to try and see what that is. Get the fuck out. It's basically saying if this bloke can get a girl, so can I. He's not a real bloke. He's fictional. It's fiction. That's not how my brain works. Classical furniture in a modern building? What? No, actually, classical furniture in a modern building can work. I don't think it's even remotely the same. How has V not heard of NTR? I don't know, man. Like, I don't research this shit. Some things I know because people show me. Like, for example, Dankula's ballsack. Unfortunately, I had the displeasure in seeing it. And as I'm watching it, it was sitting in Dankula's hand. Like, he was presenting it to me in a photograph. And I'm looking at it as it looks at me, and I'm wondering why. Why was this done to me? Like, what is the meaning of this? Is there like some deeper philosophical understanding that I don't know? apparently women are used to these things. It's called an unsolicited dick pic, but I got an unsolicited ball sack, and I didn't know what to do with it. I don't even know if it's on my computer anymore. I would have to look on the DMs that I have with Dankula, but it was there. And I just... It was like trying to absorb the meaning of the universe, and I just couldn't really get it. Like, why? What is the meaning? Like, there must be meaning to it. There must be a purpose to all of this. Don't worry, someone will find you attractive. There's a reason why the ugly bastard tag is so relevant. Man, are there men who literally go and they look for the ugly bastard trope in order to actually put themselves into the ugly bastard shoes? Like, are there men who actually do that? Because that's bizarre. NTR is cheating romance? I see. You may have received it for free, but someone actually paid over 5,000 for a NFT of it. What is an NFT? What is an NFT? Who would pay 5,000? Dude, I will show you my ball sack for 5,000. If you're a woman, I'd have to ask permission from my wife, but I think for 5,000 she would agree as well. Bots generate pictures of what you type. Try putting your username there if it's not copyright infringement. That's interesting, actually. Get into 3D printing? I don't think it's popular in my country. Like, I don't think I can even buy a 3D printer. But the thing is, like, what exactly can you do with a 3D printer? I guess you can print Warhammer figurines, right? You can potentially print a cup or something, but like, what exactly would you do with a 3D printer that would be worthwhile the investment? Non-fungible token? Are you kidding me? Like, did someone actually pay $5,000 for Dankula's ball sack? That is... Was it a woman? You can do anything with a 3D printer. I'm printing windmills, making my own power. That sounds fun, but... The idea of doing that, Zenith, from what I get, is that you can also do it with a lead pipe. Like, you can make something very rudimentary, I was told. You don't need a printer for that. Honestly, the idea that people are just going to print their shit, like print their weapons, is too overhyped, in my opinion. Like, the technology is not there yet. Was Dankula's girlfriend jealous? I don't know, man, but I wouldn't be. I mean, my wife wouldn't be either. $5,000 is $5,000, don't get me wrong. Anyway, there is something called the Ghost Miller. What is the Ghost Miller? It's also why anime main characters are all weak, whiny teenagers. Yeah, but like, that's different, alright? Because like, a whiny teenager is something that you can... But no, hold on a little bit. Like, when I was a kid, right? When I was a little whiny teenager, there were so many kids pretending to be He-Man. And there was like no similarity between the body size. I mean, He-Man was bulk and muscular, and my colleagues were whiny teenagers. So I don't think, like, when it comes to pretending to be something, you can just replace that and put yourself in that person's shoes. I mean, I even had colleagues in high school pretending to be Sailor Moon. And there was this weirdo who liked to be Sailor Uranus. No, not Uranus, was Mercury, yeah. There was this weirdo who wanted to be Sailor Mercury because she was the smart one. And I'm thinking, like, okay, well, if men can pretend to be Sailor Mercury, I don't think it really matters the gender or the archetype or anything like that. Sailor Mercury was lame, like, literally the worst attack. She just made bubbles. Sailor Mercury, ooh. Yeah, oh my god. Anyway. Um, Japanese blogs are all about immersion. So you can't have immersion unless it's literally a guy that looks like you. So if it's unless it's a scrawny guy, you can't have immersion. It's kind of weird, but okay. They bought the pictures of Count Dankula's ballsack for $7,700. My fucking god. And I got it for free. Like, they charged $7,700 for Dankula's testicles, and I got them for free. Now I understand the meaning of it. One man's trash is another man's treasure. I get it. Sent you a video proving I was wrong in the DMs. Alright, let's see. Let's see what I was wrong about. I don't think I can show this. Oh, no, I can if it's Oh, so this is like a printed. All right. So apparently, I was shown that you can actually print the weapons, and they can work. Okay. I guess the technology might be there, and I didn't know it. Sent your Dank's tweets on DM. Alright, let's see what Dankula's tweets are. $7,700. Wow. I don't think I have it, dude. You didn't send it to me. No, but still, I mean, I don't need to know anymore. I just understand. It's like one man's trash is another man's treasure. It makes sense. Also, I can't show it on YouTube. I think YouTube doesn't like the ball sack. What about the super special rare earth mineral things? 3D printers can have cartridges for them to print windmills. I don't want to talk about 3D printers because I'm not well versed in the subject. By the way, did you guys notice something interesting? So I think it started like 2 years ago that YouTube completely fucked its search engine, and they stopped being a search engine and it became a pitch engine. So if you looked anything about the news, you would only see news from corporate channels. But now it's with everything. Like if I look for a movie review, if I look for I don't know, like even a scenery from a country, like I go like best places to visit in Japan, that type of thing. Man, like all the front search results are from corporations. Everything. Like at this point, YouTube is just an extension of television. And I don't even see like the original creating anymore. Like there's just so few original creators on the platform. It's really sad when you think about it. Because it used to be like such an amazing website where you would find so much creativity and so much interesting stuff. And now it's just an extension of the television. Which is interesting because the market was showing that the television was dying. I mean, people were just tuning out and they were preferring YouTube. And I think that's why people prefer TikTok. It's just because TikTok, even with all the liberal cringe and all that shit, at least it's still independent. Like, you're actually connecting with real people and not soulless corporations. I didn't know if Crowder did videos about it, but like, seriously, you know, it used to be politics. Like, okay, fine. So their argument is that certain things can be harmful, right? Like if you misinform people about health. So if you provide misinformation about that, then you can have people that end up doing harm to themselves. Whatever. I don't know how you're going to protect those people from just going to a bar or talking with their taxi driver or anything like that. But okay, you know, fine. But what about feminism? Like, feminism is a 100% political issue, and there is no harm from talking about it. Like, there is no way you can say, well, if you talk about it, you're harming people, right? But if you look for feminism on YouTube, you're only going to find corporations talking about it. And again, that's, you might say, well, okay, but that's news related, like that's politics. Okay, fine. That's news related. Let's talk about something else. Video games. If you look at a video game, a trailer or something, the first things you're going to see is from IGN, from other corporations, or priority creators. They even actually say priority creators. Like, what the fuck is a priority creator? A creator that they want to shove down your throat. That's a priority creator. I can't go to Japan because I actually wanted to travel to Japan, but the plane ticket is incredibly expensive. I think it's like $10,000. And not only because you have to get like 3 or 4 flights from Romania to go to Japan. You have to first fly to London, and from London you get another plane, and it also takes around 24 hours, if not more, to do the complete flight. So it's a real pain. I can't do it. I mean, if I were to go to Japan to live there, like a business opportunity, that I would do it. But just to spend like 24 hours on a flight in order to stay like 2 or 3 days in Japan, no. Not to mention, like, I don't even know if the people in Japan talk English. Like, it would probably be so difficult getting around. Because, like, it's not just that it's a foreign language, but, like, the entire alphabet is fucked. So, you go to Tokyo, and, like, how do you move around? Like, you want to take a bus or something. Like, how do you do it? They don't even have, like, English subtitles. It's difficult. Let me actually see how much it costs to go to Japan. Maybe it's not $10,000 anymore. So... Romania, Tokyo. All right. And don't tell me you can't fly because of COVID. All right, we got it. Oh, okay. My bad. It wasn't $10,000. All right, I goofed. Or maybe it was, and now it's cheaper. But no, it's like 1,200 euros, and I would have to spend 17 hours in a flight, 16 hours. I mean, it's but it's the price, right? It's very expensive. Look at this one, 34 hours. By the way, like, what happens if you need to take different planes? So let's say you have to change your airplane 2 or 3 times, and one of the planes is late, and you can't get the other one in time. Like, that would suck, wouldn't it? Yeah, so I guess, like, the cheapest would be 800 euros. And it would take around 19 hours. So yeah, it's sorry, not as expensive as I thought, but it's still very expensive. Because it's like, you need to understand, it's just 1,000 euros for the plane trip. But when you get there, you're now into one of the most expensive cities in the world. Few talk English, but there's translations on enough signs to get around. But you better learn some rudimentary Japanese, both written and spoken. Yeah, I don't want to do that. So I'm just not going to go. Unless, I guess, if I were to go with an organized group, that would be different. I know you get a refund if you miss your flight, but because of the plane delays, but still, what do you do when you're stuck in an airport? You get like the guy from the terminal. Many people in the service industry can speak English. You can buy trains, bus passes in English, and there are some signs in English as well. I didn't know that, but that I mean, okay. I'll have to ask more people though, because my biggest fear is about getting lost or just not being able to talk to people. I mean, obviously in the hotel they know how to speak English. I expect that. I guess like street restaurants probably don't. But the waifus, man, the Japanese women aren't really that appealing to me. And secondly, I've already married, so You can get by on the rail bus system with Google Maps. I don't think you can, because even Google Maps, like they have the squiggly letters, man. So you look at the squiggly letters, and there's like 50 or 60 different routes, and you have to play mix and match. I don't know. People in Japan are really helpful. Is that a thing? I thought they don't like the gaijin, but if you're saying that, then okay. You wanted to go to Japan? Well, too bad. You missed your flight. Welcome to Beijing. That is so funny. Yeah, can you imagine that? It's like, oh, you want to go to Japan? Oh, you missed your flight. Too bad. Welcome to Beijing. Your sister went there for school. How did they react when they saw a black person? Because my cousin, she went to India, and she went to a more secluded town, and they never saw a white person before. And she literally had like kids on the street trying to touch her face. Like they were baffled by the fact that a person can be white. So I'm curious, like, how did the Japanese react when they see a black person? Is the Chinese Korean and the black gaijin they hate? They don't mind the white gaijin? No, I actually heard the talk from Arch. He went like, for those of you who don't know, Arch Warhammer can speak like 6 or 7 languages. One of them is Japanese, and he told me he went with a couple of coworkers to a Japanese place, and the waitress there said something about, filthy gaijins not having manners. And he responds with something. It's like, my apologies. He responds in perfect Japanese. It's like, my apologies. And the lady freaks out, like she screams and runs away. So the owner comes up and he's really crossed. And they thought he was about to throw them out or something, but then he apologizes for her behavior. Your dad once went to China with your little brother, and all the women wanted to take photos with him. Yeah, so I actually heard about this. Like in Japan, it's actually considered hip if you can, seduce a foreigner, like a white person. Like if you're a white guy and you go to Japan, you're actually going to have women wanting to take pictures with you, so they put it up on social media, and they fetishize white people. It's kind of weird because like you can get in a relationship with a Japanese girl. A lot of men say that eventually it doesn't work out, but I mean, they literally just one night you. Like they just want the experience. They want the exotic whiteness, I guess. Google Maps is very good for navigating the rail bus system. I used it for 2 months and I never got lost, and I'm naturally bad with directions, says Sarah. Also, okay, Sarah actually went to Japan. I should have taken her more seriously. Well, you say that's awesome, but I don't know if the boyfriends like it. Like the men over there might not appreciate it. They had other black people. They weren't racist at all. And other restaurant's owner gave her free food in the noodle stall. Yeah, that's pretty much how I would expect people to act, because it's kind of how Europeans act, like how Romanians acted the first time we had black people here. It was kind of like a novelty. Like everyone wanted to talk to the black guy. It was like everyone wanted to be around the black guy. Everyone wanted to interact with the black guy. Like when I was at university, at law school, that's the first time I saw a black person in my life. And literally, like, he had a swarm of people around him. Like, everyone wanted to talk to him, get to know him, asking questions. Was so real. But, I mean, a progressive will say that's racism. But again, my cousin had the same experience when she went to India. Like, people just wanted to touch her face. It's like, oh my god, white person, what is this? Sarah wants to take me with her. Is that true, Sarah? Is that why you give me super chats? To show me that you have the financial wealth in order to offer me the stability that I deserve? That is true, Sarah. They actually got banned for using the word in a game. I wonder how the Japanese feel about Mexicans like you. I guess if you're like bleach white, they might like you. It's the novelty, I suppose. Like they just want something different. It's difficult to explain. My sister felt that the Japanese were really respectful and didn't feel like she was being tokenized. Yeah, so the Japanese have a culture of respect. It's so weird because okay, so their entire thing is having a philosophy about not bothering other people. So every time they're out and about and they're in society, they are fully conscientious that they should not upset or bother other people. And they're overly polite. And what's more interesting is that they don't really curse, but what they do is when they stop being polite is when they're actually being rude. So, for example, if you're in the car with someone and the formal way they would tell you to get out of the car would be, all right, would you please get out of the car? So they would have to be very polite about it. Like, would you kindly get out of the car? But if they just say, would you get out of the car? Then that's when you piss them off. Like, that's when they're rude. So the absence of politeness means that you upset someone. So it's pretty much equivalent to get the fuck out of the car. It's the same thing. They don't say that. Like, they don't go to that level. But the moment they stop being overly polite, that's when you piss them off. It's not racism to recognize our differences. Yeah, so the way I would give it is like, if a person is a child, right, that doesn't mean you don't recognize that they're a child. Or if the person is old, that doesn't mean you don't recognize that they're old. So just because you would treat an elderly person with more respect because they're old and, you'd give them the seat on the bus, that doesn't mean that you're discriminating against the old. Like, it's such an American concept that just because you notice someone has a different skin color, it must mean that you're racist. It's not true. So, for example, if I see a black person and I go talk to them and I'm interested in, where they're from and how things are like, where from his country. And if I ask him, like, where are you from? And he goes like, oh, I'm from Romania. I'll be like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And that's it. But the fact that I'm showing interest and I'm talking, they would call that a microaggression. They would be like, oh, well, you're being microaggressive. You shouldn't ask those questions. It's like, no, because I expect that if I go to China or if I go to India and people see that I'm white, they will also ask me, like, where I'm from. And if I see someone doing that, I'm like, okay, well, they're interested in me. Like, they want to start a conversation. They're being friendly. What type of a moron would assume that just because someone is friendly, they're trying to be racist with you? I assume that, I guess it can be tiring. Like, if you go to India and every day people go like, oh, where are you from? Where are you from? Where are you from? Yeah, I guess it can be tiring, but at the same time, you would understand. Like, okay, I'm in a different country. And I'm a minority here, so obviously there's going to be some lived experiences. But unless someone is rude to you or someone is actively being aggressive, I don't see the problem, honestly. That's Californian culture, not American. They can notice all they want, but don't touch my hair. That's gross and weird. What the fuck is with the hobby of touching black people hair? So I keep seeing articles made by black people in the United States that people want to touch their hair. Why? Why? I mean, okay, when I was a kid, I was fascinated about girls' hair. Like, I really like the fact that girls have long hair. And I always wanted to touch the hair of a girl, but, until you have a girlfriend, that's considered weird and impolite. But I can look and not touch. I mean, it's not something that... I don't know. Like, is that a thing where you get like people wanting to touch your hair? I mean, if you want to touch a black person's hair, I guess you can get a girlfriend that's black and you can touch her hair all you want then. Do you know the Latin word for black metal? You'd probably get in trouble if you say, oh, get the fuck out. I'm figuring it out because Latin and Romanian is very similar. But here's another thing. Like, I recently found out, I didn't know about this, but a lot of black women, they shave their hair and then use wigs with glue. Like, I didn't know about it. And they usually say, well, it's because it tries to constrain women to standards of beauty or whatnot. But then you look in Africa where you have countries that the overwhelming majority of population are black, and they still do that. So I really don't think it's about, you know, like the cultures imposing blah blah blah. You also have black women that don't. So I think it's a preference. I think they just want to look like that. The amount of people that ask to touch my afro hair is crazy. What's crazier is the loom that a complete stranger will say when you tell them no. Okay, but do you have like women that want to touch your hair? Because I don't think you mind if that's the case. Like if a hot woman comes up to you and wants to touch your afro hair, I mean, that can be a perk. Is it a curse or is it a gift? That's what you need to ask yourself. I don't know. Like the only time people wanted to touch my hair, and it was kind of funny, it was when I shaved myself that I looked like I was a Marine. Like I shaved myself almost bald, and when I was moving my hand through my hair, it felt like a little brush. It was very funny. I know, meant that. I figured it's similar to that. Have you seen African hair? Stuff is like steel wool. Yeah, but like I would get it. It's like, okay, is their hair type? And like, why would I need to touch it? Why? Especially like going to a stranger. That is so weird. Like walk up to someone you don't know. It's like, hey, can I touch your hair? That is so bizarre. I would cringe if one of my friends would do it. Like if I'm walking on the street and we see a black person and you go to him and it's like, hey, can I touch your hair? I would cringe. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Just... it's usually blokes and my grandma's old lady friend circle that want to touch my curly hair. I would be like, no, don't touch. At least it's a positive thing, and like they're trying. It's not like they're trying to lynch you. I guess. I don't know. I think it would be upsetting after a while if I was a black person and people just wanted to touch my hair over and over. Yeah, it would get a little bit annoying. You'd kind of feel like a woman walking on the street and people catcalling you. Same experience about having people wanting to touch my hair when I shave it. Yes, it's so bizarre. Like just, it does feel kind of like a nice brush though. Anyway, right, it's been more than an hour. I even stopped talking about Blizzard because you guys got me to talk about Afro hair. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time. Maybe I'll play some Age of Empires 4 later on if you guys are still out. I'll see you then, and let me know what you think in the comment section. Take care.